After a spaceship crash scrambled my brain, I genuinely thought I was pregnant with the commander's child, so I blackmailed him. Give me 10 million and I'll abort. But Gu Cida glared at me. An alpha like you, faking a pregnancy? Really? The next second, I vomited all over him. Gu Cida froze, clutching my fake pregnancy report in shock. Late that night, he locked me in his room, his thick pheromone flooding the air, driving me wild. Leng Huaiqing, it's been 1,847 days since we broke up and you've already found someone new? That desperate, huh? The crash injured my head, leaving my mind a mess. When Commander Gu Cida visited me in the hospital, I grabbed him and blurted, "This baby in me is yours. 10 million and I'll consider an abortion." Gu Cida shot me a cold look. "Leng Huaiqing, you're an alpha. What's with the fake pregnancy act?" Then I puked all over him. Gu Yang, in a white lab coat, rushed in, clutching my medical report. "Present." What's wrong with him? Isn't it just a head issue? Why is he vomiting? The commander fired off 3 questions, enough to scare anyone wetless. But Gu Yang, our best friend since military academy days, just grinned and handed over the report. "Relax, he's fine. Our dear Leng is just experiencing a false pregnancy. Some meds and rest, and he'll be good." Me. I felt his gaze slice through me like a knife. Before I could react, Gu Cida scooped me up. He turned to Gu Yang. "I'm taking him. Keep this under wraps?" "Yes, sir." Gu Yang saluted sharply, military style. Then he smirked at me, mouthing, "Bye-bye, Leng. Protect that butt of yours." "Damn it!" I cursed, glancing up at Gu Cida's face, dark as a burnt pot. As we left, a nurse rushed in with another report. "Dr. Yi, the previous report was wrong. This is Minister Leng's real result." Gu Yang scanned it, eyes landing on the last line. "Beyond behavior X, symptoms of pheromone disorder detected. Thus, the exact cause of the false pregnancy cannot be determined." He folded the report. "Doctor?" the nurse asked, confused. Gu Yang waved her off with a sly grin. "No worries, I'm just helping 2 old flames reignite." Gu Cida took me to his villa. The moment we stepped inside, he tossed me onto the sofa and started undressing. I glimpsed a jagged scar on his arm and quickly looked away. Gu Cida snorted, grabbing a syringe and a box of pills from the table. He tilted his head, exposing his long, sensual neck, and injected the solution near his gland, slowly pushing it in. What was he injecting? Before I could ask, he shoved the pills into my mouth, grabbed a glass of water, tilted my chin, and forced me to swallow. Still weak from the hospital, I couldn't resist. What did you just give me?" I stammered. "Something to fix this." Gu Cida pressed a finger to my stomach. Suddenly, the room filled with a heavy sandalwood scent, his pheromone. Alphas naturally repel each other's pheromones, but inhaling his, my gland throbbed like it might explode. My body burned, unbearable. Trembling, I pushed at him. "Can you pull back your pheromone, please?" He didn't answer, pinning me to the sofa and biting me hard. My consciousness faded. In my last moment of clarity, I heard him whisper, "Leng Huaiqing, 1,847 days since we broke up, and you've already found someone new? Who the hell is it?" It was the first time I'd heard him curse. I'd once been with Gu Cida, a secret few knew. At the military academy, we were infamous rivals, always vying for the top spot. Everyone thought we despised each other, but in truth, we'd secretly kissed, held each other in hidden corners, and done all sorts of illicit things. Dating as 2 alphas, especially S-rank ones, was taboo and frowned upon. Gu Yang, the only one who knew, had scoffed. "You 2 love pain, don't you? 2 alphas together is just asking for misery. If it kills you, you deserve it." It wasn't that bad with Gu Cida. A childhood accident had damaged his gland, making him less reactive to pheromones. But for me, it was different. During my heat cycles, the pain was excruciating, like dying and coming back. Yet, despite knowing this, I couldn't suppress my feelings for him. I fell for him at first sight. At 18, I tested as an S-rank alpha and earned a full scholarship to the Imperial Military Academy. The news thrilled Aunt Chen, who'd raised me after my parents died in a war when I was little. On my first day, Gu Cida, masked, gave a speech as the freshman representative under the Union flag. His deep, captivating voice made me wonder what he looked like. "Why is he wearing a mask?" I asked. Gu Yang, a pink-haired guy next to me, was my first friend at the academy. "Don't be curious, he's the heir of the Gu family, the filthy rich Gu family." I couldn't help asking, "Is the Gu family that big a deal?" Gu Yang pinched my cheek, laughing. "Of course. but his grin didn't last long. In the first semester exams, I outscored Gu Cida, claiming the top spot in theory, combat, and physical training. I became the talk of the academy. Standing by the rankings board, I took a deep breath, mustered my courage, and approached him, extending my hand. "Hi, I'm Leng Huaiqing." I was naive back then, just wanting to be friendly, but to everyone else, it looked like a challenge. Gu Cida glanced at my hand, gave a faint and walked away. Gu Yang rushed over, slinging an arm around me. "Holy crap, Leng! You're number one? And you just challenged Gu Cida?" A crowd gathered, marveling at my boldness. That day, my name echoed through the academy. But as I watched Gu Cida's retreating figure, I silently vowed to work harder for my future, for Aunt Chen, and to one day be acknowledged. Opportunities to see Gu Cida dwindled. We weren't in the same class. Rumor had it no one had ever seen his face. He always wore a mask at school. During breaks, he'd nap at his desk, speaking to no one. Even meals were handled by his private guards. Only Gu Yang, my desk mate, had met him. "Tell me about him. What's Gu Cida like?" Gu Yang set down his mirror, tousling his pink hair with a dramatic flair. If there were a national heartthrob vote, I'd be second. He'd be first. "So, he's that handsome? Then why the mask?" I carried that question until the day I ran into him during his heat cycle. That incident unraveled all the mysteries and marked the start of our relationship. It was like two icy chains suddenly locking together, inseparable. At the end of freshman year came the critical class placement exam. Based on results, students were sorted into Class A, B, or C. Class A was the dream. Everyone wanted in. Rich kids poured money and effort to secure a spot. Each year, the Academy awarded the Class A top student the Medal of Honor, a golden ticket to the Interstellar Bureau, a family's ultimate glory. I acted nonchalant, but had prepared rigorously, even dreaming of military theory and mumbling it in my sleep. For convenience, I moved into a solo dorm apartment. One early morning, after training on the field, I was heading back to shower. Passing the small forest near the dorm, I found someone collapsed on the ground. Rushing over, I realized it was Gu Cida. His eyes were dazed, his mask covering half his flushed face, his chest heaving violently. At his feet lay a military combat tactics book filled with handwritten notes. Are you okay?" He seemed to recognize me, lunging forward to rub his face against my pant leg. I bent down, hit by a wave of sandalwood, his pheromone. Gu Cida was in heat. As an alpha, just 2 whiffs made my scalp tingle. Instinctively repelled, I kicked him, right in the face. He groaned and passed out. Panicking at knocking him out, I suppressed my discomfort from his pheromone and dragged him to my dorm. Luckily, my solo building was mostly empty. Laying him on my bed, his reaction intensified. He clung to my blanket, sweating, his mask soaked. "Can't you take it off?" I muttered. Surprisingly, he heard me and obediently removed it. To save money, I only had a dim nightlight on. Just under the faint glow, Gu Cida sat on my bed. Gu Yang wasn't exaggerating. Gu Cida was breathtakingly beautiful, unreasonably so. "I'm hot. It's unbearable." He gripped the blanket, looking at me with innocent eyes. Damn it, wasn't this guy known for being cold as ice? Why did he have dimples? The contrast was, "Come here." He beckoned me with a finger. I stepped closer, and he suddenly flipped me onto the bed, locking my joints with precision. Honestly, his pheromone was driving me mad. My body ached unbearably. "I know you. You're Leng Huaiqing, right? I remember you." I froze, then reached to brush the sweaty hair from his forehead. He nuzzled my palm like a puppy. "Touch me. Keep going. Don't stop." His words made me laugh, but the laughter turned to tears. Damn it, my gland felt like it was exploding. Why did it hurt this much? Gu Cida grabbed my hand, licking a tear from my cheek with his soft, wet tongue. I closed my eyes, letting go completely. My body felt like a small boat adrift in a stormy sea, swept away by the waves. In a hazy dream, I returned to my childhood. I hadn't eaten in 3 days, lying weakly among my parents' decaying bodies in the rubble, whimpering. Aunt Chen found me. She brought bread and water, patiently feeding me bit by bit. "Don't cry. Be good. Don't cry." Aunt Chen had soothed me like that too. After a night of torment, I felt like every bone in my body was broken. I didn't stir until late the next afternoon, my eyes swollen to slits. Through the narrow gap, I saw Gu Cida by the window, wearing my pants, shirtless, lost in thought. Ahem, ahem. Hearing my cough, he hurried over. "How do you feel?" I nodded faintly. "Drink some water." He poured a glass, tested its warmth with the back of his hand, and held it to my lips. I sipped, able to speak but unsure what to say. "I'm sorry, I'll take responsibility." Mixed emotions swirled in me. I lowered my hand to the bed, shaking my head. "It's fine. I was impulsive too last night." Gu Cida paused, then sat on the bed's edge. I glanced at his profile, unable to resist asking, "Don't you use suppressants during your heat cycles? And you're clearly so handsome. Why wear a mask?" He hesitated, then spoke slowly. Marshal Gu had two sons, Gu Cida's father and his uncle, Gu Wencheng. When Gu Cida was young, his family of 3 went on a trip, but a spaceship crash left him the sole survivor. Since then, he'd suffered from PTSD, becoming hypersensitive to pheromones. That's why he wore a specially designed mask to block them. After his father's death, Marshal Gu fell into despair, gradually handing family affairs to Gu Wencheng. Childless despite years of marriage, Gu Wencheng was harsh on Gu Cida, demanding he excel at school and study late into the night at home. It explained why he always napped during breaks. I recalled the night before, him collapsed with a note-filled textbook beside him. "My uncle cares about me the most. I can't let him down," Gu Cida said softly. Since he opened up, I shared my own story. But the scene was absurd. I lay naked under the blanket while he sat primly beside me, like we were on a blind date. Maybe from lying too long, I needed the bathroom. Under his intense gaze, I wrapped the blanket around my waist, trembling as I got up. "I need the bathroom. Can we talk more later?" I asked quietly. He snapped out of it. "Sure. Need help?" My face burned as I shook my head, but on my way back, my legs gave out and I tripped on the blanket, letting it fall. Gu Cida's face turned red. He rushed over, picked up the blanket, wrapped me in it, and carried me back to bed. His familiar sandalwood scent hit me, making me shiver. My heat isn't over yet. "Thank you, Leng Huaiqing." As his face drew closer, I murmured, dazed, "It's nothing. It's fine." And once again, his rich sandalwood scent mingled with my subtle grape aroma, filling the room. Our relationship grew strange. Not quite friends, after what happened, but not lovers either. We'd never even had a proper breakup or defined our relationship. Aside from a few intense days during his heat, we barely interacted. At school, he'd speak to me briefly. Okay. Bye." Gu Yang was shocked by our dynamic. I always dodged his gossip attempts. Until one day, the dean summoned me to his office. There, I met Gu Wencheng, Gu Cida's uncle. As expected, he was stern, unsmiling. He gestured for me to sit on the sofa. On the table was a check for 5 million galactic credits. "You're Leng Huaiqing?" He sat opposite me, glancing my way before speaking slowly. "2 weeks ago, Cida spent the whole night in your room. It was his heat, wasn't it? You two were intimate, right?" His bluntness made me squirm. After that night, when he came home, I smelled a foreign pheromone on him. I asked, and he lied, saying it was from a classmate in heat. Such a clumsy lie, it was laughable. Gu Wencheng gave a cold chuckle, his eyes still icy. I shivered. I'm sure it was his first lie ever, so I resorted to a little trick. I slipped a sedative into his food, waited for him to sleep, and extracted a pheromone sample for testing. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Who does that to family? Gu Wencheng clapped, leaning in to whisper in my ear. The results were astonishing. Cida can fully accept your pheromone. In other words, you can heal him, help him live like a normal person. My heart pounded. Seeing my silence, he slid the check toward me. Here's 5 million. I need you to stay by Cida's side until he's fully recovered. I stared at the check, my mind a mess. I knew my vague feelings for Gu Cida. I wanted to be near him, but taking the money would taint those feelings, turning them into something transactional. Plus, something about Gu Wencheng felt deeply off. His control over Gu Cida bordered on obsessive. I don't need it. At my refusal, he said nothing, just crossed his arms, looking down at me like I was ungrateful. 5 million can buy a nice apartment in a good area. I took a deep breath. What makes you think I need that money? With my current grades, there's no reason I won't make it to Class A. If I graduate from Class A and join the Interstellar Bureau, I can earn 5 million a year. I stood, unwilling to continue, but he called after me. Your grades are indeed impressive, but there's no guarantee you'll get into Class A. He smiled, a grin that felt like he was toying with me. I don't understand. I frowned. Kid, you're too naive. You really think this academy is perfectly fair? He meant that if I refused today, I'd be expelled tomorrow, and the day after, Aunt Chen and I would be forced out of City A. I clenched my fists, my face stiff. He dug into my past and knew Aunt Chen was my only family. You wouldn't dare. My pheromone can heal Gu Cida. You wouldn't risk it. Haha, who knows? He shrugged, tapping the check casually. Sign or not, it's your choice. Live or die, it's up to you. In the end, I left with the check. Gu Wencheng demanded absolute secrecy. If Gu Cida found out, everything would be void. I wandered the streets in a daze, unsure how to face him. Beep beep. I didn't even notice a hover car speeding toward me. A strong arm yanked me back, pulling me into a tight embrace. What are you thinking? I called you several times. I turned. It was Gu Cida. His familiar sandalwood scent enveloped me, stirring my pheromones restlessly. I blinked, tears falling. Why are you crying? Tell me. He frowned, grabbing my hands to check for injuries, relaxing only when he found none. I like you, Gu Cida, but I don't know what to do. I sobbed. You're an alpha, I'm an alpha. Wah! I felt him tense. After a long pause, he said softly, Aren't we already together? Huh? I sat in a drink shop, dazed, holding a new energy drink he'd bought me. Sipping, I stole glances at him. Why do you keep staring? When did we get together? We spoke at the same time, the air turning awkward. He narrowed his eyes. 2 weeks ago that night. I said I'd take responsibility. Did you forget what we did? Need a reminder? I slapped a hand over his mouth, glancing around the shop near the academy. If someone we knew saw us, we'd be done. Hey, isn't that Leng? Gu Yang appeared, a towel over his shoulder, drenched in sweat from training. Spotting Gu Cida across from me, his face paled. What's going on? You two? I panicked, about to wave it off, but Gu Cida grabbed my hand, interlocking our fingers. Can't you tell? What? You're dating? Gu Yang, don't be so shocked. Honestly, I just found out today too. I nervously explained the past few days to Gu Yang. Not much to say, most of it wasn't fit for others' ears. I summed it up in 2 lines. He was in heat, and I helped him. I glanced at Gu Cida, catching his unreadable gaze. Gu Yang's jaw dropped. I quietly warned him not to tell anyone. He didn't, not because he promised, but because he couldn't process the shock. You too. For the 20th time, he tried to speak but failed. I kindly prompted, It's okay, just ask. He pulled his chair closer, whispering, So, who's the bottom? Me. Gu Yang patted my shoulder with a knowing look. Leng, take care of that butt, okay? The class placement exam loomed. I was a bundle of nerves. Every time I studied, my mind drifted to Gu Cida and Gu Wencheng's threats. My performance tanked. It was inevitable. But if I didn't meet my study goals, I couldn't rest easy. Tormenting myself daily, I lost weight, my face pale. Thankfully, the results came. I tied with Gu Cida for first, both landing in Class A. Aunt Chen called, overjoyed, asking me to come home. I hadn't seen her in ages. Gu Cida offered to take me. A short walk from the academy gate, I shyly tugged his sleeve, then gripped his hand. He glanced at me, his gaze calm. I smiled. I've never initiated contact at school. You can hold my hand now. I wanted to be closer to him on campus, but too many worries held me back, like the stigma of 2 alphas dating or how Gu Wencheng only wanted me to heal Gu Cida, not love him. We walked along a path lined with blooming meteor flowers, the Empire's national flower symbolizing peace. Gu Cida suddenly reached for my head. My heart skipped. A meteor flower petal had fallen onto my hair. My family grew lots of these when I was a kid. Besides peace, they symbolize something else. Oh, what? I asked, eyeing the golden petal, bright as the sun. Loyalty and selfless love. His gaze was deep. I felt choked up, only managing a soft, That's wonderful. We reached home. I was about to knock when I noticed Gu Cida still beside me, showing no sign of leaving. Thanks for bringing me. Still no movement. Want to come in for tea? Sure. He nodded instantly. I hadn't told Aunt Chen I was dating, but I'd already offered, so I knocked, bracing myself. She opened the door, beaming at me. Oh, Tiaoqing's back. And this is? She glanced at Gu Cida, pausing. I didn't notice her expression, mumbling, he's... Hello, Aunt. I'm Tiaoqing's boyfriend, Gu Cida. I stared at him, my hands fidgeting. Aunt Chen suddenly pulled me inside, blocking the door. Sorry, dear, I'm a bit tired today. Let's have you over another time. She slammed the door shut. Wait, Aunt Chen? Before I could react, she glared at me, signaling silence. She pressed her ear to the door, listening tensely. I felt like she'd become a different person. After a while, she sighed in relief, stepping back. What's wrong? Tiaoqing, that Gu Cida, is he the Gu family's grandson? I nodded slightly. She inhaled deeply. The Gu family, There's a Gu Wencheng, right? Yes, his uncle. She staggered back, waving her hands. Leng Huaiqing, you absolutely cannot be with him. Why? I asked, confused. Don't you remember your origins? You were so young. I worked for an interplanetary charity, but I was also an interstellar intelligence operative. You were born on Osai, a planet rich in energy resources. But that year, it was attacked by an unknown fleet and enemy forces. Your parents, Osai's revered leaders, died in the war. You were the only survivor. I'd never heard this before. Her face showed fear as she recalled the tragedy. Such a beautiful planet, destroyed by war and human greed. I was sent to investigate, but the deeper I dug, the more ties I found to the Gu family. The investigation was forced to stop. To protect us, my superior destroyed all records and died in an outer system battle. She touched my face, trembling. I can't be sure if his death was an accident or a planned conspiracy. But Tiaoqing, you must stay away from the Gu family. I don't recall how I left the house. My vision darkened, my heart plunging into an icy abyss. Too much information overwhelmed me. I couldn't think straight. To this day, Osai remains under enemy control. It can't go home. Hot liquid streamed from my nose. I wiped it frantically, smearing my face with tears and blood. Leng Huaiqing, what's wrong? Gu Cida appeared out of nowhere, worry etched on his face. Lacking tissues, he used his sleeve to wipe my nose. I grabbed his collar, wanting to speak, but I couldn't. Once again, I was helplessly choked with emotion. Everything went white. I passed out. I woke in the hospital. Guiyang said Gu Cida brought me. The doctor said I was overexhausted. Where is he? I asked. He was here earlier? Guiyang mumbled, peeling an apple. Probably went to buy food. But I didn't see Gu Cida that day. He only texted saying family matters came up. I didn't reply. It was our first Cold War. I stopped responding to his messages. He didn't reach out either, even skipping school for days. Finally, I gathered the courage to call him, but he hung up after a few rings. So I stopped trying. I began searching online for records of Osai's fall. All I found were generic news reports, either too old or deliberately hidden. I tried the Academy library, hoping to find old books on the event. After hours of flipping, nothing detailed Osai's disaster. What are you looking for? A raspy voice startled me. I turned to see the eccentric librarian, his face scarred and lumpy, as if burned. I steadied myself, nodding politely. I'm looking for info on Osai. Osai, huh? An ancient name. His eyes glinted with scrutiny. Why do you want to know? It's for a school assignment. I just want to learn more. He nodded thoughtfully, retrieving an old book from his desk and handing it to me. If you're curious about that event, read this. It's just folklore, though. No one knows the truth. I hesitated, then took it, thanking him. As I left, I turned back. Was it really just an accident? He didn't answer, only smiled. I didn't know that after I left, he muttered to himself, Lord Leng, that child looks just like you. Chenshu, is our plan finally beginning? A month later, I saw Gu Cida again. Returning to my dorm after class, I caught his familiar pheromone at the door. Inside, he sat on my bed, his lip bruised. I paused, saying nothing, and quietly opened my laptop. He leaned in, resting his chin on my shoulder. Osai? That occupied planet? I pushed him away. He clung back immediately. Don't push. Let me check if you're fully recovered. Why are you thinner again? Gu Cida. I finally met his gaze. Where were you? Why are you hurt? He touched his lip, smiling faintly. Not too mad if you're worried. Family dragged me back for training. Minor injuries? Normal. I kept my stern look. He flicked my cheek, pointing at the screen. What's this for? A report for interstellar history class. I suddenly recalled Aunt Chen's words. Osai's fall was tied to the Gu family. But I can't find anything. He stared at the screen. This happened the year my uncle took office. His computer must have records. I can get them for you. My heart raced. Really? His finger brushed my lip as he nodded. Days later, he handed me a USB. It was filled with Osai files and military plans, but nothing suspicious. Then I noticed lag at the folder's end. A hidden space? After 2 days of cracking, I accessed it. Inside was a photo of the Gu family across 3 generations. Baby Gu Cida was cradled by his parents. Marshal Gu stood center with a cane. Gu Wencheng stood at the edge, his face dark while others smiled. I found it odd. Why hide a family photo with Osai files? Was there more to it? Unsure what to do, I went to Aunt Chen. You won't find anything this way. Public records are scrubbed. No murderer keeps their bloody knife. Her words left me at a dead end. Then what do? Tiao Leng, you need to get into the interstellar unit. It's beyond the Gu family's control, under the Prime Council's direct authority. Only there can you uncover the truth. I twisted my hands. To join, I must graduate top of my class. I was already neck and neck with Gu Cida. Aunt Chen shook her head, her gaze deep. Your biggest rival now is Gu Cida. The final exam is a live broadcasted duel. Just slip him some drugs. No, I cut her off, shocked. Don't you believe I can beat him fairly? She stroked my cheek, her voice soft but sharp. It's not that I don't trust you. I don't trust the Gu family. Gu Wencheng can easily get Gu Cida into the unit, but he'll use this live exam to boost his reputation, paving the way for him to inherit the Gu legacy. Don't be naive, child. He's just playing with you. In the end, he'll betray both your body and heart. I left the house in a daze. Her words made sense. Two alphas together was already absurd, and with Gu Wencheng's threats, this relationship was never pure. Though there was no solid proof yet tying Gu Wencheng to Osai's attack, he was the prime suspect. If the truth emerged, Gu Cida and I would be bound by a generational feud. This love shouldn't have started. I thought so, but my feet carried me back to the academy. It was the weekend. Most students were gone. I planned to grab my forgotten notes from the classroom. At the door, I saw a guard in black with Gu Cida inside. What were they doing? I remembered my new earbuds had audio amplification. I stuck them to the door and listened. The guard's voice came through. Young master, Lord Gu has arranged everything with the finals as judges. During the live broadcast, the camera angle will shift. I yanked the earbuds off before hearing more. My reflection in the window showed a ghostly pale face. So the Gu family was setting a trap, and I'd been the fool, hesitating all along. The feeling of being used, humiliated, crushed my chest. I left the building, returned to my dorm, and called Aunt Chen. Aunt, I've decided. Please get me the drugs. Her voice was gentle yet firm. Tiao Qing, don't blame yourself. This is reality. You're doing this for your parents, for Osai. I threw myself into training for the final duel. Aside from one day during Gu Cida's heat, I avoided being alone with him. Gu Yang said I was studying myself stupid, sitting like a statue daily. At school, Gu Cida and I barely spoke. I replied to his messages with indifference. He matched my coldness. Gu Yang saw our chats and asked, "Are you two done?" I asked why he thought so. You're texting like lovers with just and okay. What, you think you're in the bathroom here? I forced a smile, saying nothing. Gu Cida was always like that, but I wasn't. Now I was just trying to match his icy pace. The final duel arrived quickly. Class A students were paired for live duels. Winners advanced, drawing lots for the next round. The ultimate victor would be named Honor Student of the Year. Gu Cida and I had cleared 6 rounds. Now we waited for the final match. He changed, drenched in sweat. I stared at the replays of earlier matches on the wall screen. You've worked hard, I saw your matches, you've improved a lot. You look thinner. I turned back. He'd changed, a suppressant patch on his neck. Not thinner, just more muscle. Seriously, what's with your neck? I pointed at the patch. Too many people around. It's precaution, he said. Nervous? I glanced at him. Aren't you? Who doesn't want to be the honor student? I wouldn't have worked this hard otherwise. He smiled deeply. You're right. I didn't reply, just handed him a water bottle from the table. Drink. It's almost time. He didn't hesitate, downing a few gulps. I'd spiked it earlier, not with poison, but with a drug to dull his reflexes and mind. We suited up in specialized gear, donning helmets. We stood silently before the arena door, waiting for it to open. Tiao Qing, he called softly. Don't be nervous. You're amazing. You'll do great. His low voice hit my heart like a drumbeat. I only nodded in response. The duel rules banned weapons, but we could scavenge or craft makeshift ones in the arena. We were assigned a rainforest setting. Upon entry, we had 5 minutes to gather supplies. I picked a sharp moklak branch, the hardest wood in the galaxy, and hid it in my sleeve. It could tear through fabric and flesh. Just as I grabbed it, footsteps sounded behind me. I spun around. Gu Cida swept a leg at me. I dodged reflexively, countering with a kick to his chest, forcing him back. His reactions were slower than usual. The drug was working. Confusion flashed in his eyes behind the helmet as if he couldn't understand his sluggishness. He shook his head, throwing a punch. I blocked, grabbing his arm, twisting my wrist to let the branch slip out. I stabbed it into his wrist. A low groan escaped him. Gritting his teeth, he yanked the branch, dragging it to cut a long gash. Blood dripped onto the wet forest floor. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he clutched the wound, staggering back. Without hesitation, I threw the final punch. He crashed into a tree, his head smacking the rough bark with a thud. He lay still, eyes red, staring at me in shock. They blinked a few times, then closed. They didn't open again. I won the title of top student. The news shook half the empire. Before the exam, the media hyped up the sole heir of the Gu Corporation's participation. No one expected me to win. Gu Wencheng himself presented my Medal of Honor. On the podium, flashbulbs and cameras overwhelmed me, sweat pouring down my face. My mind replayed Gu Cida's fall, his eyes closing. Gu Wencheng's expression was grim. He hadn't expected my victory. As he pinned the medal on me, he hissed in my ear, "I didn't think you'd actually do it. Gu Cida's in the hospital now. With this injury, he'll likely never pilot a ship again." I replied coolly, "You're quite impressive yourself, Lord Gu. You should thank the heavens Gu Cida doesn't reject your pheromone. Otherwise, I'd have dealt with you long ago. I should have eliminated you sooner." I didn't understand why he said Gu Cida protected me, but at this point, it didn't matter. I'd chosen my path. "Lord Gu, you've already killed me once, but I survived. As you said, whether I live or die is my choice." As the top student, I was courted by many interstellar units. Surprisingly, I chose the Foreign Affairs Department, rarely anyone's pick. Staying in Central Command would have been a brighter path. The day before reporting to Foreign Affairs, Guiyang invited me for drinks. I planned to treat him big, thanking him for years of friendship, but he gave a strained smile. After a long pause, he pulled a water bottle from behind him and set it on the table. I froze. It was the one I'd given Gu Cida before the match. "Leng, why?" I stared at the bottle. "How'd you get that?" "That doesn't matter. I just want to know why." His eyes brimmed with disappointment. "Why'd you do it then? His hand's injured because of you. He's still in the hospital and you haven't even visited once. Leng Huaiqing, do you even have a heart?" My shoulders trembled. An invisible weight crushed my chest, making breathing painful. "Don't ask, Guiyang." Seeing my state, he sighed deeply, saying nothing more. After a long silence, he spoke. "The three of us, we've gone our separate ways. You've got a bright future, old Gu's in the hospital, and I'm about to get married." I blinked, stunned. "You're marrying who?" He rubbed his hands, casual. "Psi, an Omega my family arranged. No choice. People have to accept their fate eventually." I noticed his hair was dyed back to black. "Leng, Gu Cida asked me to give you this bottle. He said only you handling it would put him at ease. When I officially started my missions, I surrendered all personal communication devices. The 5 years of surveys were both dull and hectic. I traveled countless planets, chasing every lead. I gathered heaps of data on Osai's fall. Finally, I found key evidence from a space merchant, a photo of Osai before its invasion. In one corner, Gu Wencheng sat with enemy forces inside a Gu family-owned ship. The merchant said the photographer was once an interstellar unit member. One day, he received a huge sum with instructions. If anyone asked about Osai, hand over this photo. After his story, he gave me a video storage box. I opened it, and the contents shook me to my core. 2 videos. The first showed Gu Cida's father, Gu Wenhuk, arguing fiercely with his brother, Gu Wencheng. "Tiao Cheng, listen. Father didn't mean to favor me today. He didn't intend to pass the position to me." Gu Wencheng screamed, tears streaming. "Shut up, Gu Wenhuk. From childhood, he's always favored you. You're just a beta, yet he praises you for pouring water. Me? One small mistake, and I'm scolded, beaten until I bleed. Why? I don't care anymore." Gu Wenhuk tried to hold him. "Tiao Cheng, let me explain. As an alpha, Father had high hopes for you. Stop talking. Hopes get lost. Don't touch me. You're not my brother." The second video was inside a violently shaking ship. Gu Wenhuk sat at the controls, frantically working the panel. He shouted to the woman beside him, "Hurry! Call Tiao Cheng! Call HQ!" The woman, cradling baby Gu Cida, tried to soothe him while contacting help. "No, rejected. Still rejected." Gu Wenhuk slammed the panel in fury. "Damn it! Try again!" 2 agonizing minutes passed. The ship blared. 3 minutes until asteroid collision. Countdown begins. Desperate, Gu Wenhuk told his wife to secure Gu Cida in the last safety pod. At that moment, the call connected, but rescue was too late. Gu Wenhuk sat before the screen, watching the asteroid close in, asking softly, "Tiao Cheng, why?" Gu Wencheng's voice replied, "No reason." I thought of many ways, and this was the only one to make father notice me. Gu Wenhook wept, holding his wife tightly. "You just wanted to kill me. Why drag them into it? Because their memories can't be erased." 30 seconds to impact. Gu Wenhook sobbed, screaming into the screen. "Please, I beg you. Cida's so young, he knows nothing. He won't remember. I put him in the pod. It'll self-destruct in a day after the crash. I'm begging you, Tiao Cheng." Boom. A deafening explosion, then darkness. I was speechless. My heart surged with shock and rage. So, the USB Gu Cida gave me years ago with that family photo was his last memory of his parents. And his father's death was all Gu Wencheng's doing. Countless Osai citizens, including my parents, died in that war because of him. A man like that deserved death. After 5 years of surveys, I finally returned home. I told Aunt Chen everything first. She spread rumors and stirred public outrage externally. I learned the old librarian was her former superior, my father's friend, who'd uncovered many secrets and sold the evidence to that merchant while evading assassins. I worked internally, stirring chaos across planets in the Federation. If Osai's truth isn't revealed, any planet could be next. Soon, Gu Wencheng's reputation plummeted. From squares to bars, negative news spread galaxy-wide. Public outrage exploded. At the peak, I released all my evidence, including that photo. Gu Wencheng was arrested and thrown into an interstellar prison. After a month of investigation, I waited, exhausted. Finally, his crimes were confirmed. He was sentenced to life in solitary confinement forever. But what I didn't expect, the new commander was Gu Cida. His appointment sparked fierce public backlash. Aunt Chen distrusted him too. I stayed silent, offering no opinion. A month earlier, I'd sent the videos of Gu Cida's father to his inbox anonymously. He must know the truth now, and it had to hurt. But I couldn't let him live in ignorance forever. To win public trust, Gu Cida poured his personal wealth into rebuilding the Federation. Without war, he used money to buy back Osai from its occupiers. Some mocked it as the power of supreme currency. For citizen stability, he raised base salaries, adding generous benefits and subsidies. Those policies silenced his critics. With his striking looks, Gu Cida was voted the man the entire empire wants to marry. His posters lined every street. I often stood gazing at them. "Thank you for buying back Osai." No war, no bloodshed, no sorrow. Gu Cida was truly a worthy commander. Guiyang invited me for drinks. Tears streaming, he raised his glass, apologizing. "Wah! Leng! I questioned you like that. I deserve to die," I glared. "Stop it, crying like that. If your wife saw, she'd laugh her head off." He scratched his nose, embarrassed. Then I learned the Omega he married had run off. I downed a big gulp of liquor, teasing, "Bet you weren't good to her, so she left. Why aren't you chasing her?" Guiyang waved grandly. "Love me, fine, don't, then leave. This young master won't chase." I smirked inwardly. He'd regret that later. Tipsy, we reminisced about our school days. At the end, Guiyang asked, "Did you really just use Gu Cida?" "Leng, look at me. Do you still have feelings for him? One look, and I'll know." Before he finished, I turned. He'd passed out on the table, drunk. After exposing Gu Wencheng, I was credited for my efforts. On a diplomatic mission to other planets, my ship hit a small asteroid, crashing. I woke in the hospital, groggy. The one who took me from there was Gu Cida. I struggled to open my eyes. Tormented the previous night, I'd cried until my face was swollen beyond recognition. I couldn't recall when I'd been carried to bed. Groping beside me, the bed still held his warmth. I crept up, legs covered in bruises. Shivering, I shuffled to the closet, throwing on Gu Cida's clothes. His pheromone clung to me. I just wanted a bath to feel clean, but I couldn't stay here long. I hurried to the door. Just then, it beeped twice. Gu Cida stood there, holding 2 bags of groceries, blocking my path. "What's up? In a rush to leave?" I nodded awkwardly. He dropped the bags, scooped me up, and carried me to a chair by the dining table. "That urgent? If not, eat breakfast first." I fumbled, gripping the table's edge. "Okay, fine." Gu Cida made a simple breakfast, some sandwiches. He set the plate down, then grabbed 3 bottles of liquor. "Huh? Who drinks this early?" Something felt off. "Want some?" he asked. Before I could decline, he glanced at me. "Never mind, it's too expensive. I'd hate to share." I awkwardly picked up a sandwich, nibbling slowly. Gu Cida poured himself a full glass and downed it. "Yesterday, I found out you weren't really pregnant, so I called Guiyang. Desperate, Gu Wenhook told his wife to secure Gu Cida in the last safety pod. At that moment, the call connected, but rescue was too late. Gu Wenhuk sat before the screen, watching the asteroid close in, asking softly, "Tiao Cheng, why?" Gu Wencheng's voice replied, "No reason. I thought of many ways, and this was the only one to make father notice me." He said the test was a mistake. I dealt with him this morning. I swallowed my bite. "Good job." He poured another glass, drinking it down. "The stuff about my parents, you sent it to me, right? You exposed Gu Wencheng too. I figured only you'd dare." I winked at him. He drained a third glass. "After Gu Wencheng was jailed, I learned he'd threatened you back then. I'm sorry. Did you think I was in on it, playing you? But I swear it wasn't like that." Gu Cida's face flushed. I scratched my cheek. "It's fine. It's in the past." "Past. Good. Good." He fell silent, staring at his plate. "Osai, I did my best to get it back. I know it can't make up for your loss, but I had to give you a home." I listened, finishing my last bite. "Leng Huaiqing, I've fulfilled my duty to you. You can't be so heartless. My hand can't pilot ships anymore. In the future, when I want to travel, shouldn't you drive me around?" I glanced at him. He seemed drunk. Noticing my stare, he waved apologetically. "No, I'm not forcing you. You can drive if you want, okay?" "Gu Cida, what are you getting at?" I finally snapped. One drop, two drops. Soon, countless tears fell onto his plate. I was almost jealous. How could someone look so good while crying? "Can you come back to me? I still like you, Leng Huaiqing." "Stop." I cut him off. While he was still dazed, I opened my smartwatch's data panel, analyzing seriously. "Based on my observations, your personal wealth no longer ranks in the Federation's top 50. Your spending far exceeds your income. You'll be broke in 3 years. Meanwhile, my assets are in the galaxy's top 10 and still growing steadily." Now it was Gu Cida's turn to blink, stunned. "So," I took a deep breath, speaking firmly, "you'll have to marry into my family. Marry me. Agree?" He touched his nose, his voice soft. "Okay, sure." Side story, Gu Cida's perspective. It felt like I was born to live in darkness. My uncle's expectations, the Gu family's future, all weighed on me. Until one day I saw a name beside mine on the Academy rankings. A voice said, "Hi, I'm Leng Huaiqing." A hand reached out, but my gland wouldn't let me touch others. What a pity. I could only apologize silently in my heart. Gradually, I started noticing Leng Huaiqing in the crowd. In the hallway, on the field, always smiling brightly. I couldn't look away. One day, by chance, I fell into heat. That moment bound us together. We started dating. The gland I'd resented my whole life became useful. Leng Huaiqing's pheromone smelled of ripe grapes. I didn't reject it at all. Maybe because it was my first relationship, I was clumsy, unsure how to talk or share. It made him think we'd never even started. But in misfortune, there was fortune. I got to hear his confession. Yet my uncle found out about us. He locked me in a dark room, flooding it with pheromones to torture me, demanding I end it. I couldn't. For the first time, I defied him. If I can't be with Leng Huaiqing, I'll refuse to inherit the position, by any means. It didn't matter. That path was forced on me. I never wanted it. My uncle punched me hard in the mouth, trying to wake me up. Maybe because I vanished for a week, Leng Huaiqing grew distant, upset. Around then, he started investigating Osai. I offered to get him the files. His small face lit up, eyes sparkling. Really? In that moment, I'd do anything for him. But he grew colder. I asked Guiyang, who said, "Leng Huaiqing's just tired from studying." I thought, I'm his biggest rival now. If I step back, would he still have to struggle so much? But when that idea slipped out, my uncle threatened Leng Huaiqing's life, forcing me to compete. His guard relayed, "Young master, Lord Gu says, don't hesitate. If you want to keep that Leng alive, you must compete." Fine. I'd go. I decided I'd lose to Leng Huaiqing. When his sharp branch pierced my arm, I never imagined our relationship would end like this. On the ground, I could have stood up. But I saw his panic. He didn't want me to move, so I closed my eyes, lying still. In the hospital, my uncle berated me mercilessly. "I don't get you. What did that Leng kid give you? A bit of sweetness, and you hand over your heart. Pathetic." Late at night, Guiyang sneaked in, asking what happened. I told him to take the water bottle from the lounge and give it to Leng Huaiqing. It was fine. It had come to this. I accepted it. Guiyang said Leng Huaiqing joined foreign affairs. Though I vowed not to care, the news stunned me. Why choose a life of wandering, struggling on foreign planets? But then, he was fluent in alien languages. He'd be fine. I was hopeless, still worrying about him, foolish. Look at my bandaged hand. Whether I could pilot ships didn't matter to me. My family would handle it. News of my uncle flooded the media. I confronted him, but he stayed silent. Even when arrested, he didn't speak to me. On public screens, Leng Huaiqing exposed Gu Wencheng's collusion with enemies. Clear, undeniable evidence. 5 years apart, he felt distant. I remembered when he started investigating Osai. Had he been planning this all along? I'm a survivor of that war. No one knows its cruelty better than me. I won't let my planet be a tool for conflict. I want justice, so Osai and I can have a true home. I stood frozen, unable to believe what I saw. Then, 2 videos appeared in my inbox from an anonymous sender. It was like lightning on a clear day. Gu Wencheng, who raised me for over 20 years, had killed my father, his own brother. I visited him in prison. Still cold, he didn't apologize or explain despite my shouts and kicks. Instead, he recounted how he'd threatened Leng Huaiqing at school. I felt like I'd fallen into an icy pit. I understood why Leng Huaiqing had struck me down. The torment, the conflict, the bitterness he must have felt. Gu Wencheng was stripped of power, but the corporations backing the Gu family for a century wouldn't let it end. So I was naturally pushed into his role. Under immense pressure, I poured my wealth into fixing things. First, I bought back Osai with my own funds. If I ever faced Leng Huaiqing again, I couldn't bear the shame otherwise. In this position, I couldn't repeat Gu Wencheng's mistakes. The next time I saw Leng Huaiqing, he was in a hospital bed. Guyang's call felt like the world froze. I raced to the hospital, terrified. My parents died in a ship crash. I hadn't told Leng Huaiqing my true feelings. He couldn't be hurt. Thankfully, he was intact. But his first words were that he was pregnant with my child. In my memory, Leng Huaiqing wasn't that reckless, but Guyang's report made my heart race. Leng Huaiqing had a false pregnancy. That meant he had a mate. Chaotic thoughts tore through my mind, shattering my reason. No, Leng Huaiqing couldn't be with someone else. Never in this lifetime. It didn't matter. I'd do anything to keep him by my side forever. Damn that Guyang for tricking me. I racked my brain on how to explain to Leng Huaiqing. Maybe some liquor? Studies say alcohol relaxes nerves. 3 rapid questions from a commander would terrify most. Mumble. I rambled. Then he interrupted. Leng Huaiqing seemed to mock my poverty. I stared at his moving lips, but his words didn't register. Finally, I heard clearly, "You'll have to marry into my family. Marry me. Agree?" Huh? A blessing this huge, landing on me? It must be heaven, my parents watching over me. I whispered, "Okay, sure." I feared speaking too boldly might make him think I was ungrateful. Then he leaned in slowly, pressing a kiss to my lips. At last, I stepped out of my lonely darkness and embraced the pure light that was mine alone.